There we go.
All right. I'm Jerry Sanders, President and CEO of LEAD San Diego and the San Diego Regional Chamber. I'd like to welcome all of you this morning and congratulations to all of you. Our organizations are driven by a mission of making the San Diego region the best place to live and work. Doing that requires strong leadership at all levels and leaders who are informed, engaged, and ready to create meaningful change in their community. At this time in our community and country, that leadership is especially important. The LEAD programs offer something for everyone from new professionals to seasoned executives and are preparing the leaders we need to take the San Diego Northern Baja region to the next level. Part of that offering is this very program, LEAD's flagship program, Impact San Diego. Over the last 9 months, those of you in this class have learned about our incredible region, and hopefully you'll see yourself in the future of the region as we continue to grow and thrive. Congratulations. LEAD's programs would not be possible without the support of our partners. Options for All stepped up this year to be our virtual host, allowing us to have our programming on Zoom. US Bank signed on as an individual session sponsor this year, hosting some rich conversations around housing and homelessness in our region. And our series sponsor, once again, was SDG&E. We're grateful for their years of support and partnership. We'll hear from Impact 2013 graduate Penny Newell of SDG&E a little later this morning. Finally, I want to thank our board members for their passionate support. They're truly some of our greatest ambassadors. To provide a welcome on behalf of the board and share a bit about our Impact program is our chair, Idara Ogunsaju, a 2017 graduate of Impact.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jerry. It's my honor to be here to recognize these distinguished individuals for completing the Impact program. Not only did they complete the program, but they've also partnered with some outstanding local nonprofits that provide wonderful services to our community, all in the midst of a global pandemic. This cohort has proven to be curious, opinionated, thoughtful, kind, flexible, and incredibly resilient. Who would have thought we'd have to do the entire program virtually? This class made it through with grace and ease. And so to the Impact class of 2021, thank you for your investment in this program, your investment in your own leadership development, and the work that you've put into your leadership action teams. The LEAD team truly values the commitments that you have made and the commitment you've shown to your community. We hope this was a valuable experience. My thanks to our program director, Samantha Beck, and our program manager, Kim Nguyen, for keeping all the pieces together. You kept the program running on time and on point. You've done a fantastic job, both of you have. And for our guests today who are not familiar with LEAD's Impact program, I'll fill you in. For the last 9 months, these leaders have spent 1 to 2 days of each month learning, networking, and working on community projects. They've met leaders from all over San Diego and Baja California, learning about the important issues facing our region. Each month had a theme. For example, one was military, another on the binational region, another on nonprofit and philanthropy sectors. It had other month themes that included public safety, arts and culture, and life sciences. So these individuals are now better informed. They see the challenges and opportunities that are coming our way, and they've built a diverse network of peers, and they're better equipped to move forward in their roles as San Diego's civic and community leaders. They've also provided tens of thousands of dollars in consulting work to local nonprofits. That's through the leadership action teams, the projects that have a service learning component for the Impact San Diego program. Having gone through it myself, I can tell you that it's been an incredibly valuable contribution. Many of the people before you now have found their passion and started on their path to make a meaningful difference in our community. Many class members have been changed or inspired to take action by the people they've met, the places they've seen, and the issues that have been raised or the challenges that were presented. We hope this is the start of something new for you. With all of us, with all of you, as with the current and future leaders of the region, I know that San Diego's in good hands. I can't wait to see what you all have in store for us. So it's the Impact class of 2021. Congratulations. I'll now turn it over to Lead Director Samantha Beck to introduce the Leadership Action Team presentations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Idara.
My pleasure.
Today would not be possible without the commitment of our nonprofit partners. We value the time, passion, and trust you've put into this partnership. We're very grateful to Armed Services YMCA, Detour, Promises to Kids, San Diego Mesa College Foundation, and the Uptown Community Service Center. Thanks to all of our partner agencies for the heavy lifting you do day in and day out to serve our community. Your dedication is to be admired. The leadership action teams, working in collaboration with their assigned community organization, will use today's graduation showcase to present a next phase investment opportunity. Let's hear from members of our leadership action teams as they describe their work with our partner agencies and the impact their volunteer efforts have had. Please join me in welcoming the Armed Services YMCA team. The Armed Services YMCA's mission is to enhance the lives of active duty service members and their families in mind, body, and spirit by providing unique programs and services that are relevant to the unique challenges of military life. Take it away, YMCA team.
Good morning and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nicole Markell and I'm proud to be part of the Armed Services YMCA Leadership Action Team. Our team had the honor of collaborating with the Armed Services YMCA to create marketing and communication assets that they can present to funders and partners as they work to execute a bold new vision in our community. The ASYMCA seeks to expand its impact by constructing a state-of-the-art hub to better serve our local active duty, veteran, and military families. This facility will serve as a critical connection to the San Diego community by providing enhanced resources, educational opportunities, and recreation facilities. When we invest in our military and veteran community, we are investing in a stronger, healthier, and more vibrant San Diego region. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll hand it off to our next team member.
Thank you, Nicole. We're going to spend the remainder of our time this morning going through the deck that we put together for the Armed Services YMCA that will give you a better understanding of the project that they're undertaking. Our presentation highlights areas of interest for prospective donors and community partners. Those three areas that we cover in this deck are the challenges our military faces, the need for more programs and services, and the solutions for how to serve more individuals and families in the San Diego region. So the objective, as Nicole mentioned, is that the Armed Services YMCA wants to raise $8.5 million to create a permanent facility that will really meet the expanding needs of our military service members and families here in the region. The Armed Services YMCA, as many of you may know, has been here for more than 100 years providing programs and services. And this slide really gives a quick overview of some of the challenges that our military service members and families face. Some of these may be familiar to you, others may not. These include long deployments and frequent relocations, the out-of-pocket expenses that are incurred due to those relocations, social isolation, children falling behind in school, spousal unemployment and underemployment, and the lack of affordable and available childcare, which is not unique to our military service, but on top of all these other challenges, is just a lot for them to work through. This slide and the next slide, we really wanted to support those facts and statements on the previous slide with data for those who are interested in better understanding what those challenges are. So we have here that the frequent relocation, so a child through their K through 12 education may relocate 6 to 9 times on average. And then also that family separation is nearly 50% of our military families experience a long-term separation due to deployment. And on this slide, one area that we learned more about when we visited the site in February was food insecurity, that 40% of military children are on free or reduced price lunch programs, which of course during this pandemic has only been a greater need that the Armed Services YMCA has had to fill for our military families. I'm now going to turn it over to Justin, who's going to talk about the need and opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks, Dawn. How's everybody doing? Well, kind of being born and raised in San Diego, I thought I knew a lot about San Diego. But then you kind of learn, especially through this project and obviously LEAD in general, you know, San Diego has the largest concentration of military for the United States anywhere in the world. And the Armed Services YMCA is located smack in the middle of that in the largest military housing community in the United States. So it's huge. And most people don't understand that. I didn't understand that until we really started to go through this. So the need that we saw, and we see this quite simple, the demand for child services far exceeds the supply by more than 3,000 children, military children per year. And even with the more than 57,000 members that are served per year by the Armed Services YMCA, the wait list is a mile long. And the current temporary facilities, the trailer facilities that are in place that you see there on your screen, they can't even really support the demand, and they're way beyond their lifespan currently. You know, we felt kind of as a team, you know, going through this, that our military families and their children deserve the best. And this is a great opportunity to show our support for our military families and their children. It's a perfect time for a new, beautiful, and permanent building to be built, something that we can be proud of and that can shine as a beacon for San Diego for decades. The new facility, it will ensure that the Armed Services YMCA can meet the demand and expand supply of programs. They'll be able to increase the efficiency and the effectiveness of childcare and have awesome events, opportunities for kids, donors, military personnel, and of course, all of us. And, you know, we saw it as when you have the largest concentration of US military anywhere in the world, and you have the largest military housing community anywhere in the United States, San Diego military children need a facility that's going to match that. And this is the time. We believe it's now. And that's why we're so strong in supporting this. And I'll pass it along to Josh. He's going to kind of go through the details of the building and the plan.
Thanks, Justin. Awesome. So our team gathered with the Armed Services YMCA and working with their design and construction people that they're proposing to use. This is the proposed solution that they're coming up with. Here's a rendering of the design. If you go to the next slide, yeah, perfect. So just to kind of reiterate what Justin's saying, they're operating out of trailers right now that are past their lifespan. And it does not meet any, it is just not adequate enough today to meet all the things that they're trying to provide to military families, from childcare to job trainings and such. On the left-hand side, this is where they're operating out of. You can see the trailers. And then if you look on the right-hand side, the new proposed facility, which is about 125 feet by 100 square feet, 2 stories going up further to revitalize the parking in the area. That's going to be the proposed facility that you guys have seen in the renderings as such. Next slide. Thank you. So the biggest problem when it comes to building, designing, and trying to figure out how do you get all this in, all the things that they're requesting and all the services into this into the building that they want. And one of the biggest drivers and the biggest challenges that they have is because of the site constraints and things like that, they're only limited to certain square footage in the area in order to meet not only the municipal code, but also the other code provisions that are out there. So this is kind of the layout to show you and demonstrate what the constraints are with the site, the property lines and things like that. It's over 2 property lots. And the green outline is where the proposed new facility would be in order to maximize the maximum amount of square footage in order to meet the needs. And this new facility, as Justin has mentioned earlier and my team members have mentioned before, will, with the new square footage and all that, and the new facility, will not only help expand after-school programs and daycare, which is much needed for these families, it also helps increase the programs they would also offer to families, from job training, spousal training, and stuff like that. In addition, because they're operating out of such old trailers that are past their useful life, environmental stewardship is actually a very big component in the building design. And that is going to be incorporated into the design. Further, they are looking to add more playground space and recreational activities for military families. And with all that, building this new facility will help not only create a better impact for them as a leading nonprofit to show like their status and stuff like that, It will also provide naming opportunities to continue to support operations for the facility and offer affordable programming. And not only that, it will offer finally a stable long-term location that they don't need to look and house their programs throughout San Diego County. And then this slide just kind of goes over the impact stories of how the Armed Services YMCA supports the local military community and all the positives that come out. And this new facility will continue to not only support that, but enhance that for these families. In terms of development and construction, the process looks like right now as we work through it and talking with their consultants and things like that, it's about approximately a 4 to 5 year build from start to finish. San Diego, because of its unique challenges, right now it's going to take about 2 years to come up with a plan to get through the discretionary approvals. Bringing architects, civil engineers, going through the, putting rough budgeting estimating in order to ensure that there's adequate funds to build a facility. Once all that's through and get through that discretionary approval process, we move on to stage 2. Stage 2 is then we move getting all parties from structural engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, engineers, architects, contractors to start putting together the construction set of plans and the permitting process approval. That will take about another year. And finalized with the 3rd year is that once all the permits are through, we believe it will take about 1 year to construct the building and then finally the grand opening. Right now, the projected revenue that the Armed Services is generating from their current facility is about $139,000 this year. When the facility is complete, and with all the new programming and the new opportunities from having new facility, from naming opportunities to fundraising initiatives, and these additional programs, we believe in talking with them and working with them that it will increase almost over 2,000% to 3.4 million annually. That's a huge source of revenue for them and to continue to offer the amazing services to the military families. And how you guys can help. Learn more. It will be, again, it'll allow people to get more involved. We need to get people become more informed about the American, the Armed Services, the YMCA, and each one of us to help contribute to support to this amazing effort. And with that, I will turn it over to, I believe, George.
Hello. Thanks for that summary. I'm George, and I am so happy to have worked with ASYMCA, and also the lead team that we put together this presentation. We would like help in maintaining a consistent brand about the campaign, and also in helping to keep our supporters informed. So as far as awareness is concerned, it would be a great help if we could have our allies create awareness with the ASYMCA. And if we hit the next slide. In summary, we have surpassed our current lifespan on our current trailers, and we are now creating a home to support military families for the next 100 years. It will be a center of community, a place where military families, the military and the populace will form a core center. It'll be a center of relief, a place where we can support our military families in time of need, a center of personal betterment, where members of our military families will find opportunities for personal enrichment, and also a center of resource connections, where the military families can find partnerships. It was great to work with the Armed Services YMCA and to bond with the lead members on this project. This is a very worthwhile project, and thank you very much.
Excellent, job well done. Great work. Now I'd like to introduce the team that worked with Detour. Detour's mission is to increase access to education and employment opportunities for girls through the focused and naturally confident youth, also known as FANCY leadership programs.
Hello, today we have Tia, Christina, and myself. For the past few months, we have been working with Detour all about Girls of Color Initiative and Detour Empowers. The proposal was to develop a strategic plan to catalyze all the Girls About Color collective initiative and construct a new narrative, establish a list of stakeholders who will engage in and support their work, and evaluate process to measure the success and need for involvement in their programming. The overview, our team assembled data, established strategic plans and recommendations, and identified stakeholders in 3 priority areas identified by All About Girls of Color Collective: economic development, education, and juvenile justice. Purpose, All About Girls of Color is to provide an ecosystem of engaged stakeholders to support girls of color within the various systems that prohibit their growth and development. This support will come through advocating on their behalf and educating everyone who plays a large role in the journey. Their vision is to unite individuals who are passionate about youth equity and inclusion to reduce exclusionary practices and marginalization of girls by providing training on current trends impacting them and evidence-based practices for supporting and engaging girls of color around these trends. We will start off our first section, economic development. Christina, take it away.
Sure, good morning. So in our economic development section for our baseline data, we started by looking at the employment status for 16 to 19-year-old youth and young adult women in San Diego County. And we found that Black and African-American girls experienced an unemployment rate of 37% compared to the Hispanic and Latino population at 24% and the white population at 22%. We can go to the next slide. And in addition to the unemployment rates, we also looked at the poverty status in the last 12 months in San Diego County. And we found that Black and African Americans were experiencing poverty at the highest levels, followed by Native, Hawaiian, and other Pacific Islander, and Hispanic or Latino.
We also further explored education and wages. Excuse me. No significant difference from high school diploma to certification to BA. Please keep in mind that this only focused in San Diego as a whole, and it didn't break down by gender or race. So then we further explored this by looking at student loans. And then women of color have the highest student loan rate. And the reason for this was wealth gap. 67% of Black women who attend do not complete their for-profit college due to the amount of loans that they are taking out, compared to only 4% of the white college graduates. Women take about 2 years longer to repay student loans than men from the moment they graduate from school, and that's due to gender pay gap. And then we'll look at solutions.
So some of the solutions that we came up with were to provide access to higher education opportunities and provide the necessary support and resources for girls of color to thrive in higher education or certification programs, to implement life skill and career-focused curriculum in high school graduation requirements, and to partner with organizations to provide employment and or paid internship opportunities to girls of color. And we established a potential list of stakeholders for each of our sections. For the economic development section, we have San Diego Youth Services, trade schools, the San Diego Foundation, the Neighborhood House Association, Reality Changers, and the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation.
And now we'll move on to education.
All right, so our fellow teammate, group mate, Dr. Bonnie Reddick, she really spearheaded this education section. She couldn't be here today, but she worked really hard on this section. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to our potential stakeholders. But we started in the education section by identifying the suspension rates for girls of color in California and then in San Diego County. And so we found that while Black students comprise only 5.3% of students in the state of California, 7.7% of Black female students were suspended. In the San Diego Unified School District, Black girls experience a 5.1% suspension rate. That is 46% higher than the district average. And then we also found that the greatest rate of suspension for Black girls was in grades 7 and 8. Go to the next slide. In addition to looking at the San Diego Unified School District, we also looked at all of the school districts in San Diego County and compiled a list of school districts with suspension rates that meet or exceed the San Diego Unified School District. And you will see that list here. Move to the next slide. Okay. And in addition to the suspension rates, we took a look at the graduation rates for students of color, particularly Black students. And so only 60% of Black high school graduates, or 60% of Black high school graduates do not meet A through G requirements for admissions to UC or CSU schools. 72% opt to attend community college, 9% go to CSU schools, and only 3% attend UC schools. 18% go to for-profit colleges, which presents a particular problem because these institutions, they have higher costs, they have higher student loan debt, and the student loan default rates are higher. And they also have some of the lowest completion rates of all colleges and universities. Some of the reasons why Black students experience these disparities are adultification bias, Black girls being seen as less innocent and more adult-like. Also the enforcement of traditional white norms of femininity on Black girls, and socialized adultification. Black girls assume more adult roles to help meet family needs, and families intentionally instill maturity, strength, and independence in Black girls as a defense to structural and intersectional racism. And so some of our solutions, really the biggest solution is to develop and provide culturally competent, gender responsive, and developmentally appropriate systems to support Black girls, to ensure that we provide what all children deserve and need: the freedom to make mistakes, the safety of support and understanding, and a nurturing environment. And we will go to our list of potential stakeholders. Like I mentioned, Dr. Bonnie Reddick is the director of the Black Resource Center at San Diego State University, and she worked really hard to create these connections at San Diego State for the All About Girls of Color Collective. And those connections were the Center for Achieving Black Wellness and Racial Education, the Community-Based Block, the Center for Community Counseling and Engagement, and the recommendation to negotiate MOUs to create an admissions pipeline for Black girls in STEAM or other disciplines at community colleges and other four-year universities. I'm sorry.
And now we'll move on to juvenile justice. Tia.
Okay. Since we're in our third section, I think y'all are seeing a trend. So we really dug into some data to kind of tell the story or illustrate the need, and then we came up with some solutions and some stakeholders to engage to get at those solutions. So looking at the juvenile justice data, one thing that really stood out to us is that the majority of the girls, or close to half of the girls in the system, have experienced a significant number of adverse childhood experiences, which are called ACEs. And so those ACEs are things that happen that impact them throughout their life. And a lot of the girls who are in the juvenile justice system have had that experience. Clearly, girls of color are also disproportionately represented in the juvenile justice system because of that. And often there's a cycle of families with girls going in and out of the system. Let's move on to talking a little bit more about ACEs, Idabel. So talking more about ACEs, I just wanted to highlight that a little bit more for those who aren't familiar with what that is. So that includes the girls experiencing or witnessing violence at home or in the community, having a family member attempt or die by suicide. It also talks about the child's environment that can undermine whether they feel safe, secure, stable. Sometimes there's substance abuse use in the home, sometimes there are mental health issues, and sometimes there's parental separation due to a household member being in jail, in prison, or deported from the country. Next slide. According to the CDC, these experiences increase the risk that children will be injured, receive sexually transmitted diseases, and have other health problems. These girls are also more likely to be involved with sex trafficking and have chronic diseases as they move through their life. The toxic stress of living in these situations impacts brain development and really can cause struggles that last throughout a lifetime. It's a physical as well as a mental strain on these girls who live in these environments and really can impact their life going forward, often impacting their decision-making, the environments that they're in, and leading to them being involved in the juvenile justice system. Okay, Idabel. Solutions, again, similar to the education system, we're talking about utilizing trauma-informed practices and really talking about training anyone who interacts with these girls in those practices. Those practices really look at getting at how we treat the causes rather than the symptoms, and treat the girls with a sense of respect for their experience rather than being punitive with suspensions and other kinds of measures. We also talked about having trainings around bias, systemic racism, microaggressions, so that as schools and communities are developing policies and programs and things that are going to impact girls of color, they're looking through a trauma-informed and racially sensitive lens. There's programs such as Star Pal, which work on building positive relationships with girls of color and the law enforcement. So we would definitely recommend doing more of that. And then also looking at how we engage the girls in those conversations about what policies should look like, whether they're policies at the school district level, the community level, or kind of big P policies at the state, county, or federal level that impact how girls of color are treated by law enforcement, as at the school level, school police, as well as at the community level, San Diego police. The girls should really have a voice in crafting what those policies look like so that they're informed by their life experience rather than folks who have never been through that experience or have had ACEs in their past. Stakeholders. Some of the stakeholders that we pulled out are law enforcement leadership, obviously at the school and city level, school leadership, whether it's principals, assistant principals. There are several CBOs throughout the county who work in the juvenile justice space and have a lot of experience there who could inform solutions. We're always looking for champions and our elected officials and policymakers. We have several from San Diego who have really stood up for girls of color and people of color, so really looking to engage with them. Again, really making sure that the girls and their families are part of the solution so that they're working with those making the changes rather than having the changes done to them. Really looking at equity-focused justice groups, community organizing groups, and others in the community and see how we can engage them, like Mid-City Can and others, to really look at how do we create an overarching framework that engages youth leadership to really impact changes at the policy level. I think that's it, Idabel.
Perfect. And then our next steps, Detour and All About Girls of Color Collective will connect with the potential stakeholders presented from our group, explore data sets from other institutions, work with Institute of Public Strategies for GSI mapping, surveying girls of color on 7 impacting categories, and our team continue our support efforts. And that's all we got.
Awesome, great job. I cannot wait to see what happens from all of those next steps. So before we meet our next team, we'd like to welcome 2013 Impact graduate Penny Newell. She is Senior Community Relations Manager for SDG&E, our Impact Series sponsor and longtime lead supporter, to say a few words. Thank you, Penny.
It's my pleasure to be here today to help celebrate the LEAD San Diego Impact Class of 2021. The education and training and connections that you have forged over the last 10 months have prepared you for greater civic and community engagement. And now more than ever, our local communities need diverse leaders like you to build a more equitable, and inclusive and sustainable future. You know, the last year has been tough on everyone, especially our most vulnerable communities. The impact of COVID and social and racial injustice throughout our country continue to remind us that there's much work to be done. Whether you are a single individual or part of a vast community of leaders, driving change starts with one simple commitment to making a difference. At SDG&E, our purpose goes beyond delivering energy, and that's why we've been a longtime supporter of Lead San Diego. One of our core values is championing people, which for us means promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, not just within our company, but also within the communities that we serve. Our workforce of 4,500 employees feel privileged to be a force for positive change. And we are investing in our communities and our customers. I encourage all of you to invest your time and your talent into our communities too, because it's going to take all of us working together to shape a bright future for our region and our nation. Congratulations to the Impact Class of 2021.
Thank you so much, Penny. And we're so thankful to you and SDG&E for your longtime support and partnership of not just Impact, but all LEAD programs. So let's get back to our leadership action teams and see the remaining 3 projects. So our next team will be the team that worked with Promises to Kids. Promises to Kids' mission is to create a brighter future for foster children.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is Michael Ford, and I have the pleasure of introducing the really great work that our team did over at Promises to Kids. I'm going to actually kick us off with the video. So let's hope I do this right. 1 second.
Good morning, everybody. Michael, thanks for sharing that video. There was some great audio there that you may or may not have been able to hear. Fortunately, we do have some slides to go through to give more of an overview and kind of an in-depth look at the work that we did to support Promises to Kids. I'm Ryan Hall. I am with Nuffer Smith Tucker. We are a local PR communications and marketing agency serving the San Diego community for more than 45 years. Here is our leadership action team. You see all of our smiling faces, a good looking bunch. We will introduce ourselves briefly through our slides. So the Promises to Kids program was really focused on their Guardian Scholars program, which supports foster youth who are looking for higher education through a university, community college, or trade school education. Our effort was really to support the group mentorship program, which was based on program participants and their desire to have mentors that really look like them. So Promises to Kids was looking to build out a model for group mentorship based on that, and the need and desire from program participants to have mentors that really look like them and share similar backgrounds and traits. As you can see, Promises to Kids has been very successful, a more than 80% success rate through the Guardian Scholarship Program, but that was based on one-on-one mentorship. So we were really looking to build out a group mentorship model. Our project objective was really focused around a couple of things. It was promoting the Guardian Scholars Program and Promises to Kids and their efforts to support youth, foster youth through mentorship, really building out that group mentorship model, and providing the Promises to Kids team with tools and resources to help recruit group mentors going forward, after our engagement was over. And then at the end of the day, our goal was to recruit new members into the Guardian Scholars Group Mentorship Program. And with that, I will turn it over to Gaurav, who's going to talk a little bit about the research that we did to identify the areas of most need.
Thank you, Ryan. My name is Dr. Gaurav Mishra. I'm a psychiatrist. I work with kids and adults, and I'm also Chief Behavioral Health Officer at San Isidro Health. I'm actually at the convention center right now, and I'm overseeing implementation of mental health services for the unaccompanied minors we have at the convention center. So coming to our project, I think, this was an amazing sort of tie-in for my professional work, but what we started our project with was how do we determine what the next group of mentors look like for the scholars? And the best way to do that was actually to talk to the scholars themselves. We decided that we would have some in-person or Zoom meetings, but just because of logistics and people having too many meetings, we decided we also wanted an online version of our survey. So we created something that looks very complementary, similar line of questioning to the in-person conversation that would help us collate both the data points from both the different kinds of meetings and really come to a conclusion. So we did, about 71 scholars did participate. We met with several of them in person via Zoom over 3 different focus groups. And we were able to get the data down to a point that we did learn that having more Black and Latinx mentors would have a huge impact on a significant number of the scholars. And that's sort of guided our next steps in recruiting. Thank you. I'll pass it on to Eric.
Thanks, Gaurav. So the feedback we received from the Guardian Scholars really guided the shaping of our campaign. It was of the utmost importance to us that the recruitment was led by their voices and their needs. And so as we looked back at our conversations and we saw that there were clear priorities that rose to the surface. And those were wanting better connection and collaboration with mentors and their peers, a deeper sense of community, a more casual mentoring program that took into account their busy lives, and a need for mentors who reflected their cultures and identities. And so we took those and created the backbone of our marketing campaign, which we'll talk through. But that backbone became what we affectionately call the 5 C's, which you'll see here, which are connectivity, community, collaboration, comfortable, and culture. And these sort of guided how we moved our project forward. I'm now going to pass it off to Mindy, who's going to talk through our social media and press campaigns.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about my dogs barking. That's what they have to do in the 60 seconds I have to speak during this. My name is Mindy Wright. I am a senior account manager at Intessa Communications Group. I am going to talk a little bit about how we leveraged media. Can we switch the slide over to the next slide, please? See some of the cool stuff. While we are switching that, I will dive right in. So we utilized social media. We did a paid social media strategy along with Promises to Kids that would really help them tap into their channels and utilize their extended networks in order to reach out to new people. The power of social media is that it also makes taking the next step, clicking the button, filling out the application that much easier. So it's a really important part of our strategy. We also worked with the Promises to Kids team to make sure that their website really helped people get to where they needed to go. So we helped streamline the process when people visited their website to the information and the application for the program, which had previously been sort of hidden and a little bit challenging to find. We also utilized local broadcast networks to get the message out to people. We pitched and placed 2 local media segments. One was a Spanish language segment, which aired on Univision San Diego yesterday. It's a beautiful segment. And the other is going to be on CBS 8, and that will happen next week. The Univision piece was really beautiful. It centers on one of their Guardian scholars who's currently attending San Diego State. She had a really, really rough past, ended up orphaned at 15, and just a really touching story about how, you know, she used to not be able to look forward to holidays and just really missing that long-term connection, and how now that she has that mentorship relationship, she can look forward to those things, and she has somebody to cheer for her as she works towards her goals. So just a really, really nice piece of storytelling, and hopefully will help connect more people to Promises to Kids. I think I'm passing it on to Michael and Miriam.
Hello again, everyone. So one of the things that our team did was we got really creative on how can we support Promises to Kids even after we're not working with them. And one of those opportunities was marketing and creative. One thing that we did over with communications was we were able to actually create and produce a 30-second PSA commercial spot, which actually ran through all of our cross channels through Southern California. In addition to that, we do have a nationwide show called Main Street Living, which we were able to have one of their directors featured on and just chat a little bit about who these kids are and who these young adults are, and also a little more about the group mentorship, which is pretty new and pretty unique to Promises to Kids. We also created a 3-minute testimonial, and all with the mindset that these resources could be used in the future. These weren't going to just, you know, they didn't have an expiration date, and they'd remain evergreen. So I'm going to pass it on to Miriam, who will talk a little bit more about that.
Hi, everyone. Miriam.
To be relevant to Promises to Kids in their continued. Seems we lost Miriam's audio.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Miriam.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Did you not hear me? I'll just start over. Okay, Miriam Berg here. You can still hear me? Want to make sure? No?
We can hear you.
We can hear you, Miriam.
Okay, great. So just like Michael said, we created here at Options for All, our film and media studio, again, created a heartfelt video testimonial that is evergreen, as Michael said, and will continue to be relevant to Promises to Kids in their continued recruitment of mentors. And with that, I'm going to pass on over to Erica.
Thanks, Miriam. My name is Erica Schimmel-Giles. I'm the Director of Design and Project Management at San Diego Gas and Electric. As you've heard, our team put together a targeted outreach campaign. We actually reached out to over 24 prominent organizations across San Diego County, some of which include the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Chicano Federation, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, just to name a few. We also conducted a focused information session at SDG&E, which highlighted the opportunity for group mentorship and the impact that Promises to Kids has on foster youth in San Diego. We were able to directly hear from one of the foster youth who has benefited from the services provided by Promises to Kids, and his story was compelling. This was one of our many dynamic strategies to drive awareness and engagement and meet their goal of 15 group mentors. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Alec to talk about and showcase our resource toolkit.
Thanks, Erica. Hi, everybody. My name is Alec Ostapovich, and I serve as the Community Engagement Director at Hope for San Diego. Our team also put together a resource toolkit for continued marketing efforts for the group mentorship program. And this included a one-page info sheet that they're able to easily digitally distribute and also print and be able to have at their office, as well as future local events, and then as well as those social media graphics, and then email templates to be sent out to organizations, groups, and companies to help with future recruitment. And now finally, I'll pass it back to Michael.
Michael, you're on mute.
Oh boy. Like I said, you guys, thanks so much for your time. We had a blast working with Promises to Kids and learning more about our foster youth in San Diego County. If you guys would like to know more or even become a mentor yourself, scan the QR code on your screen. I think we're going to drop something in the chat as well. We're definitely looking for Black and Latinx mentors. But thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time.
Wow, incredible job. Well done. And the video was still fabulous with or without audio. Great job. And last but certainly not least, our final partner agency and team worked with the Uptown Community Service Center. Uptown Community Service Center works to provide services to homeless, poor, and needy persons in a manner that is respectful and inclusive of all individuals and all circumstance.
Good morning. I'm Bridget Breitenberg, where we are. Hannah's going to go ahead and cue up our slides. But as we're getting ready, I just wanted to say, wow, what great work. Congratulations to our classmates for these wonderful projects and the presentations you just delivered. Really fantastic. Our team was partnered with Uptown Community Services Center, and we had the pleasure of working with Jude and Allie there. Our dynamic and hardworking team consisted of Raj, Sarah, Vivian, Juan, Michael, April, Hannah, and I am Bridget. A little background about Uptown Community Service Center. Uptown is a nonprofit organization which was founded in 1984, and it's located in North Park. Each year, Uptown provides services to more than 2,000 people experiencing homelessness. And you'll see in this list below these critical services that they provide, which include mail distribution and a message center, food, clothing, information, phone support, COVID masks, and bathroom facilities.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Hannah Diaz. And so the problem as it was presented to us by Uptown is that within North Park and really across San Diego and more broadly, we all have these inherent biases that really prevent us from learning some of the honest truths about homelessness. And so our team's solution was to create this multifaceted workshop that Uptown can use to engage North Park community members around this topic and really bust some of the myths that are out there.
Our Leadership Action Team project was designed to help create and implement an educational workshop for religious, business, and community organizations in order to provide the community with increased awareness about the homeless population. As part of our project, our work included these following components: research, video creation, identifying community partners, a marketing plan and a funding plan, and also creating a pre and post evaluation technique.
And then, so to dive a little bit more deeply into the workshop, so we titled this Shining a Light on Neighbors in Need. And as I mentioned, the goal was really to bust some of those misconceptions out there about homelessness in San Diego. And so to do that, our workshop created a few different elements. We have a curriculum to guide facilitators through the program. We have a set of quiz questions that can assess participants' assumptions, both before they start the workshop and then after they've gone through all of the content. We have a set of interactive activities that put participants in real life situations and really think about their own financial and family situations and how they might make some of those tough decisions. We included an informational video that features Uptown clients and staff, board members, and volunteers, and we'll show you that at the end of this. And then finally, we included a resource guide. And so this includes suggestions for donations for money or time or other goods that folks can donate either to Uptown or other organizations in San Diego. Sorry about that. Okay.
Additionally, as mentioned, our project included a comprehensive communications plan. It's designed to serve as a roadmap outlining key communication goals, strategies, and tactics that will help Uptown spread the word about their new educational workshop, raise awareness of the organization, and share compelling stats about homelessness in our region. The plan includes a list of target audiences, key messages, and a draft timeline to help outline action items to support their efforts. And on the next slide, you'll see some of the promotional tactics we suggested, which include a comprehensive social media campaign, e-newsletter updates, website updates and blog post entries, partner cross-promotion, public relations, media outreach, and brand development.
And then so finally, we also included a development plan. And so the goal of this was really to increase organizational funding for Uptown in the next fiscal year. And so to do that, we looked back at fiscal year 2019 and the budget there, and then made some recommendations for Uptown moving forward. And so as the final component of our presentation, we wanted to show everybody the video that a few members, Raja really deserves a lot of credit, a few other members on the team who really worked very hard on this video to go out to Uptown and record footage, speak with clients, board members, staff, and really assemble this and put it all together. So I'm hoping, can you all see the video? I actually can't see you, so. Okay, so let's make sure sound is on. I think we're good. Okay, let me know if you can't hear this.
The demographics may surprise some people. First of all, the average age is 50. And this organization really helps people in their middle ages. We have very—
A little louder.
People under 30 is extraordinarily rare, and we really don't have many people over 65 or so. About 65% of the people are men, which you probably would anticipate. 35% are women. 51% of our population has a disability, either mental or physical.
We have about 2,000 clients, and they come to me on a regular basis, and I get periodically I get donations of all sizes. So one day it could be a bag of extra small clothes for women, and the next day it's a XXX for men. And I need all the clothes, especially backpacks, hoodies, and blankets.
I just want people to know that be open and think about what it is that you can do to help. Again, it can be small, it can be large, it can be volunteering, and allow yourself to even be educated to what the needs are and how vast the situation is, that the spectrum of homeless, houseless people is very, very wide.
We're all like one paycheck away from homelessness, and that the stories that we think people might tell if they told their stories about how they got there would be very different than what we might think. People have myths that they tend to believe about how people became homelessness, how people fell into homelessness. And most of us would never imagine that that could happen to us.
You know, people look at you differently. They judge. I mean, when you up, when you hot, you're hot. But when you're not, you're not. You know what I mean? So to say, when you're down and you're at your lowest, you know, you're almost like the scum of the earth, or POS. You know, like a disease almost.
Finding a job was the hardest. Not having a permanent address, being able to do simple things like get your clothes washed, transportation, having somebody help you with your resume, getting access to food. Those were the main obstacles.
Nobody desires or wants or wishes with hope to be homeless. There's a series of circumstances and things that happen beforehand that lead to this.
Our primary service is a mail service, and that's great for people who don't have a street address.
It's just nice to know you have a place where you can get, correspondence or whatever from people.
I like Uptown Community because they have a area where you can shower, and they offer you clothing and shoes. And they also, if you have a pet or an animal, they provide food for the animal, and they also let you care for them here for like a little bit while you're caring for yourself. And then they also offer food, and it just seems very welcoming, and it's like easy.
Food, opportunities, medical, be it physical or mental, are available here. So come on and get with us. Help me, help you, help us all.
All right, so thank you all very much for your time, and we will hand it back to you, Sam.
Thanks. That was awesome. Great video. And will all have to forgive me because I completely skipped over one of our LAT teams. So I'd like to introduce the team that worked with the San Diego Mesa College Foundation. Sorry, guys, it's your turn now. So the San Diego Mesa College Foundation is dedicated to empowering students to reach their educational goals by increasing resources, raising funds, and creating friends and partnerships to support the mission of San Diego Mesa College.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, everyone. My name is Courtney Locke, and I will be kicking things off for our Leadership Action Team, who had the honor of working with the San Diego Mesa College Foundation. The San Diego Mesa College Foundation's project statement was to expand community outreach through storytelling. Once the Leadership Action Team was formed, we began to have conversations with the foundation, and our objectives expanded to include tools to 1, raise awareness in the greater San Diego community of the foundation and its goals, 2, communicate more effectively with stakeholders, and 3, highlight best practices and provide recommendations to the board related to fundraising and development. We agreed upon the following deliverables: to develop tactical tools and support, and this was through the form of a story bank, a grant seekers toolkit, and a media-rich history of the foundation. We also researched and curated fundraising development best practices and provided recommendations to the Foundation's board to facilitate a shift from a reactive fundraising culture to a proactive fundraising culture. The process employed by our leadership action team consisted of us splitting into two subgroups, a divide and conquer strategy. And collectively, we were able to conduct stakeholder interviews, and this included Foundation board members and advisors, past and present, conducted benchmarking research with various community colleges in our geographic region and even some outside of the San Diego region. We reviewed publicly available Foundation documents as well as received internal documents. And lastly, as subgroups, we worked collaboratively with key board members and committees with the Director of Development. And as a result of this process, we were able to come up with a really robust set of resources and best practices that we shared with the board this last Thursday. And to dive into those a little bit more deeper, I'm going to hand it off to my partner, Reed.
Thank you, Courtney. When we started working with this board, we realized that they were very engaged and committed to fundraising and to the organization. And so what they were looking for was the ability to tell that story, to engage donors at a deeper level and start to develop those transformational gifts. So we delivered, as she said, a robust platform of deliverables, some soft, as in recommendations and best practices, and some hard, as in actual physical deliverables that we provided. I want to walk us through quickly what those deliverables were. From a best practices perspective, we leveraged not only the internal stakeholder surveys and document reviews, but we also went out and reviewed the documents and looked at the websites and other information about comparable community colleges within the area and some outside of the areas, just to get a feel for what other community colleges similar to theirs, what they were doing and what their best practices were. We also had quite a few team members who've served on boards and who have been in fundraising and development. And so we were able to leverage that experience to provide some best practices. And the big thing, like we said earlier, is it was proactive. We wanted them to start to become rainmakers to help the fundraising department as an entire board. And so those best practices were, one, to tell your story with gifts. It's not just about giving gifts and soliciting gifts, but it's also about telling that story with those gifts. Everybody that goes to, all alums or people that are currently going to or who are involved with a university or college, a community college, they've got stories, they've got lived experiences, they've got shared experiences. And so when you give a gift to the organization, we were telling the board members that your gift should tell your story, because if you're able to tell your story through your gift, so much easier to start to drive that deeper, meaningful, transformational gift with other donors. So for instance, there was a particular department that inspired you, then your gift goes to that department. If there's a place on campus where you met the love of your life, then you give a gift that's centered around that. If there's a particular professor who just inspired you to be your best, your gift should tell that story. The next best practice was to know your strategy. They've done a great job from an administrative perspective of running this foundation. The next step was becoming this fundraising arm at a rainmaker level. And they're already in the process of developing, creating the development strategy. So we talked to them about, as a board, everybody should be involved in that and everybody should have ownership. And if you have that roadmap on a multi-year, multi-modal based development practice, then you go back to that roadmap regularly and everybody's on the same page when it comes to how they tell the story for the organization. The next was grow the capacity. When you have a board that's very strong in certain areas, you want to make sure that the areas that you need are also filled in. So personally, they'll look to grow their own capacity as board members, but also start to look outside to fill those positions they may need. We gave an example, for instance, at my organization, we really needed a doctor of psychology on our board because we're starting to see more and more mental health issues with our homeless youth. So we went out and found somebody with those strengths to fill that capacity on our board. And we advised them the same thing. Look for those people who fill those roles that you may need moving forward as you grow. And it also means growing the capacity of your donor base so you've diversified your gifts and you're not stuck. If another pandemic type year comes, you have a good diversification. You won't lose out on a lot of funding. And the final best practice was to assess annually. You've got this long-term development plan. You're now starting to identify your strengths and lean into your roles. Take a step back at the end of every year as a group and talk about what went well. What could we do differently? What might we add to the mix? And what could we take away from the mix for the coming year? It really helps you hone back in on that strategy. From a recommendations perspective, we also derived our recommendations from really the deep dive with the organization itself and looking at how they're doing on fundraising and looking at how they're telling their story. And then we came back with some recommendations. The first was prioritize transparency. From financial documents to conversations, outside perspective should always be able to see through everything and know exactly how you're functioning as an organization, because we've got a new sophisticated donor base out there and all of fundraising, and they want to be a part of organizations and they want to see the inner workings. They want to know more. They don't just want to give their money. They actually want to give their experience and they want to live it with you. So we wanted them to prioritize transparency. So anybody that looked at the organization knew exactly what was expected of them and what was being done with their money. The second one was to identify your strengths. And we talked about this a little bit in the Grow Your Capacity. Every board member brings a fundraising strength to the table. Not all are those get on the phone, dial and smile and create relationships. Some are networkers at a more subtle level. Some may be event specialists or writers and can help with the grant writing process. So identify your strengths and then lean into that and play that role. And we also will provide them with Strengths Finder information so that if they want to as a board, they could go through the Strengths Finder process. And finally, we talked about SMART goals. If you've got a long-term plan and you've got a committed, engaged board who are leaning into their strengths and you're assessing annually, the big thing is to set those road marks. You can't just say, we're going to raise $1 billion in the next 10 years. You've got to have steps along the way so that you can track your progress, so you can hold yourselves accountable. And so if you have to, you can adjust or adapt. And so we talked about making sure that they were continuing to layer in SMART goals moving forward. From a hard deliverable perspective, we were able to provide them with 4 major hard deliverables. First off, we went through, Courtney did some interviews with stakeholders, historians, and former board members to get a good idea of the organization and its history. And so we were able to deliver them with a more precise and a beautiful graphic of their foundation history. And this helps them tell the stories with potential donors, where they came from, what they've done over the years, and where they are now. And as you can see, we're at 45 years of continued service, and they're giving out 100 plus scholarships through this foundation a year. That alone tells a great story to anybody who says, I want the next generation to go to school. Well, this organization is giving out 100 plus scholarships each year. Why not jump in and be a part of that? The second hard deliverable that we provided was this story bank. They really wanted to tell the stories better. And so we did student and alumni interviews and started to develop stories for them. We were able to deliver into their story bank for them 6 new stories. 2 on alumni, 2 on COVID-19 relief award recipients, and 2 on scholarship recipients. And what's great about those stories is it not only just tells a little bit about the student, but it also talks about the challenges they've faced, the value of Mesa College to them, and then their current situation versus their future goals. And as we got into conversations with the board, we talked about, if you've got the opportunity to sit down and tell a current story or tell a story to somebody or put that person in front of them, that's a very powerful motivator for people. Being able to sit across the table from somebody who's telling this extremely powerful story about how an organization has impacted them, that's when we engage them emotionally, and that's when they want to be a part of it. And obviously for next steps, we encourage them to continue to collect those stories, put them in a story bank, and that way anybody and everybody who's involved at a stakeholder level with the organization can take these stories and go out and tell them into the community. And the board was very excited about that. The next piece was a grant toolkit. Grant writing can be a labor-filled process, and it can be difficult. So we wanted to deliver a grant cover letter outline, so they had something regularly to go back to for most grants. A proposal outline, so they weren't reinventing the wheel every time. And then of course, all the supporting documents. And we suggested in our resources that they try to put those all in one place. So anybody, not just who's writing the grant, but anybody can access them at any time so that they can collaboratively work through the grant process. And then finally, we offered them some resources. And these resources were based on our travels as fundraisers and also based on what we've saw at other organizations. And they were centered around research, marketing, fundraising, and learning. And we highlighted a few just to help them understand. The big key with the resources was to reduce time, become more efficient, save money, and create more collaboration. Most of the resources we suggested were software as a service, so that anybody on the board, any stakeholder at any time could access the information. And we also talked about streamlining. If you've got 3 or 4 pieces of software doing 3 different types of work, can you buy one piece of software that does all of them for us? And then finally, we also recommended just a few books that we got. I actually took a course from, one of the things we recommended was the Harvard continuing education courses. And I got some of these books from the course that I recently took on grant writing. The two that I want to highlight, The Storyteller's Secret by Carmine Gallo and The Power of Moments, Why Certain Experiences Have Extraordinary Impact by Chip and Dan Heath. Why? Because these are all about how organizations used lived and shared experiences to create these amazing stories to drive lifetime customers. And it's about how organizations use the power of story to engage people more deeply. And that's what mattered most to them. Back to you, Samantha.
Oh, wow, I even get to have my name on a slide. Great job, everyone. Give yourself a huge round of applause. Those projects turned out amazing. To be able to see it from start to finish, just watching you all was so rewarding. I hope you're all incredibly proud of yourselves, and that was nothing short of amazing. So before we announce our graduates of the class of 2021 Impact, we have one final order of business to take care of. I'd like to invite 2020 Impact graduate and recipient of the Herbert G. Klein Memorial Award for Exemplary Leadership, Christopher Kelly, to the virtual podium to present this year's award.
Thank you, Samantha. I should have a slide. Thank you, Samantha. Hey, it's a real honor to be here to present such an exemplary award. Each generation has like an outstanding individual who makes a true mark on their community. And Herb Klein, this distinguished retired vice president and editor-in-chief at Copley Newspapers, is someone whose impact and contribution to the San Diego community is very extraordinary, super extraordinary. I don't know if you knew this, but Herb was also the press secretary and the communications director for Nixon, and he resigned right before Watergate. So we won't mention Watergate, but he was a badass. And he also was a sports fanatic. He served on the boards of the San Diego International Sports Council, the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corp, and on the executive committee of the Greater San Diego Chamber of Commerce, which of course is LEAD. But some of my favorite things he did, which you probably don't know, is he led the charge on creating the Holiday Bowl here in San Diego. So just think of the impact he made with that revenue stream coming in every year. He also brought the Super Bowl here 3 times, which is pretty amazing. So I've been talking to Lead and Samantha and Kim about this, but maybe next year, whoever wins has to lead the charge on bringing a San Diego football team back from the NFL. So that's next year. That'll be pretty awesome. Bring back an NFL team to San Diego. Huge shoes to fill. But during my time at Lead, last year, we went half of the year, we were in person, which is awesome. And then all of a sudden, we were in this Zoom wormhole. So that was pretty fun. So I know what you're going through. It's pretty hard to make relationships and talk to people. And you kind of just go, hey, what's that picture on your wall? You try and make that connection. But I would encourage you to keep making those connections and make a weekly or a monthly calendar invite to just check in. Because as you know, a lot of these people from different industries, you rely on them for different things. A lot of people in my class got new jobs. They're on different boards, and they created really fascinating business relationships and nonprofit partnerships, which are insane. So with that said, and we also have a secret Lead handshake I'll teach you later. But personally, as a result of winning this award, I actually went all in. I loved helping so much. And as a 3rd-generation San Diegan, there was so much I didn't know about San Diego or the community because I lived in a little bubble pre-pandemic and during pandemic. But I went all in and quit my for-profit job and went into nonprofit. So that's a little bit about me. Enough about me. Let's talk about you guys and these amazing nominees. This award is presented to a member of the current year's class who's contributed to our community through service, leadership, and commitment to our region. And the nominations and selection were made by members of the current Lead class. So as I call your name, please wave hello. So Kim's gonna highlight you on the screen for our audience. So the class of 2021 Herbert G. Klein Memorial Award finalists are Tia Anzalotti. Wave, Tia. Hi, Tia. Number 2, Michael Ford. Hi, Michael. Good to see you. Raja Gainey. It's fun just to announce this. Sorry, it's super annoying, but it's fun, right? Idabel Gutierrez. Eric Keen Louis. And Reed Maltby. Hi, Reed. And Don Wenzel. Please join me in congratulating this year's Herb Klein finalists by clicking on the reactions button on the Zoom and put your favorite emoji of, like, the party hat or the smiley face or something. And so this year's nominee, a few observations about this person. This year's honoree stands out as authentic and insightful. This person is able to connect their lived experiences to their work in ways that many cannot. And by sharing their inclusive perspective on topics covered over the course of the program, sessions were more thought-provoking and illuminating. This person has spent their entire career creating impact in the San Diego community. And finally, this year's winner is passionate and dedicated to continuing the great work in the community, like most of you already are. So kudos to the nominees. Please join me in congratulating our 2021 Herbert G. Klein Memorial Award recipient, Raja Gainey. Congratulations, Raja. Let's send the virtual podium over to you. Speech. Congratulations.
Wow. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Christoph, for introducing this award. It's an amazing honor to receive this award. I feel truly blessed and honored. I've been here in San Diego for many years, doing a lot of work in various areas. So it's a good thing to kind of have something like this come about and have me be recognized in this light. I knew coming into this year, especially with LEAD, I've heard about this and program and knew that it was a great opportunity to connect and learn about all the great things that are going on here in San Diego. And COVID-19 did kind of derail things, but I want to just give a great shout out to Kim and Samantha and the rest of the team over at LEAD for making this experience great and awesome. We've had the opportunity to hear from many individuals in our community and help build capacity so that we can make that impact, which is why we're doing this program. Again, today I feel informed, empowered, and engaged to make a difference in San Diego. I feel recharged in some ways to find other ways to make impact. And I will definitely cherish this opportunity in this moment. I would like to thank a few other people. Obviously, it takes your rock and your foundation to support you. I want to first and foremost thank my LAT team. It was amazing getting to know you guys and working on behalf of Uptown Community Service Center. I also want to thank Ali and Jude over at Uptown. I firsthand, I really was touched and moved by learning from the staff and the clients that were there, especially that showed up in the video. There was many other voices that we couldn't share, but they are a small but mighty team and they're doing amazing work. So I want to give a huge shout out to them. They're always looking for volunteers and extra support, but they're doing great work. I would also, of course, like to thank my fellow LEAD graduates. You guys, the experience being on here this last 10 months, it's just been amazing. Everyone's doing such amazing work. So I'm looking forward to moving forward and finding ways to connect as we move forward. But I just want to thank you all for being inspirations to me. And then also going deeper, my family at San Diego State, I joined their team just ahead of the pandemic last year. So this was kind of a unique time to try and do LEAD impact and also navigate through the pandemic. And so all my team there, you've been a great support to me and helping me, manage the work there, but also being upfront and getting value out of this program. And then I also have a couple others, Walden Family Services. I've been a longtime board member there. They support foster youth here in San Diego. Long time support for me. They've made a huge impact on my life And so I wanted to make sure I thank them. And then last and certainly not least, I want to thank my awesome 4-year-old son, Austin, who got to pop in on a few of our lead meetings throughout the 10 months. And then my amazing girlfriend, Rashida. They've been very, very supportive. So I feel honored to have received this reward. And again, this is bringing San Diego forward and making an impact. So I feel honored to share this with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations, Raja. Well deserved. And don't worry, your award will be coming to you in the mail shortly. Okay, at this time, we'd like to welcome Lead Vice Chair and 2018 Influence graduate, Vicki Naylor-Burke, to join us to recognize each member of the class. Class, as your name is called, Kim will spotlight you on the screen. To the rest of the class, feel free and unmute yourself and celebrate your classmate. Vicki has a very special style of thoughtful, strategic leadership, and we're so grateful for her guidance as we look to continue enhancing our lead programming and moving forward. Thanks, Vicki.
Thanks, Samantha. That was a nice intro. So just a couple of quick comments before we go into the actual reading of the names. So I've been at Qualcomm 24 years. I've been a San Diego resident almost 30 years. And for the most part, I just worked in our Qualcomm community and really worked with a community of Qualcomm employees. And it wasn't until more recently that I've been starting to get more engaged with the broader San Diego community. And I'm really passionate about supporting and giving back to the San Diego community. And a lot of that the tipping point was in 2018 when I took part in the Lead Influence program. So the Influence program is supposed to be for new leaders in San Diego, C leaders in San Diego, or C-level leaders, to meet each other and really understand how San Diego works. And even though I'm a chief diversity officer, I got there because my boss couldn't go. So I took advantage of that opportunity, and it was really, really fantastic. Shortly after that, I joined the board. So I am on the Lead San Diego board, and then I got on the executive committee, and now I serve as vice chair, all in that short period of time. So I say that to you as new graduates to know, we want you to continue to stay engaged with Lead. We want you to be sitting here as vice chair in a few years, talking to other impact graduates. So, and with a little special plug, one of my side committees is about an alumni program, and how do we keep all these great Lead graduates together and continue the networking. So stay tuned more for that. And as you stay engaged, we'll let you know how that's going. So anyway, getting back to actually the announcements. So in just a moment, this group is going to join more than 3,000 graduates that are already out there working to help make a really big difference in the San Diego and the Cali Baja mega region, and really helping to make sure that our community reaches its greatest potential. So we're always so impressed with the dedication and engagement of the impact participants. And yeah, it's been a challenging year. And yet you all remained engaged, you're eager to learn, and talk with each other, work with each other, and really learn from this experience. So as you celebrate this, we hope you'll look forward to future classes and help us create this same experience that you're feeling for others in San Diego. So either your peer group or go back to your companies and try to help figure out how Lead and our Lead programs can be a part of your leadership programs back at your work. Graduates of our programs at Lead are always the best recruiters for next year's classes. So I'm sure you already know some folks that are going to be great candidates for these programs. And another just quick plug, our application deadline for next year's class is June 18th. So, you know, send some folks over to the LEAD website and let's keep it going. So Kim's going to send out a bunch of follow-up information on how you can stay involved and engaged. So please look for that and be thinking about who you might want to nudge towards the next cohort of impact graduates. So without further ado, let me kind of shine a quick spotlight on each of you individually. And I don't know if Kim's going to do a quick screenshot or if you're just going to do a wave, but I will try to pause and make sure everybody gets their moment in the sun. So our first graduate is Dominique Albright. Congratulations. Tia Anzalotti. Where's Tia? All right. I got one of those too, Tia. Very good. Sarah Bowles. Hey, Sarah, congratulations. Bridget Breitenberg.
I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
Okay, sorry, that's my technology talking to me. I hope you guys didn't hear that. Okay, Bridget, congratulations. Very good. Justin Brennan. Where's Justin? Congrats. Good job. Miriam Burke. Congratulations. Congratulations, Miriam. Corey Cavaneri. Where's Corey?
Corey had to leave early.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm back on.
There
Sorry.
he is.
Hey, thank you.
Congratulations, Corey. There we go. There we go. Congrats. Hannah Diaz. There's Hannah. Congratulations. Well done. Michael Ford. Where's Michael? Hey, Michael. Congratulations. And then our recent winner, Rajan Gainey. There's Raj. There you go. Congrats. Job well done. April Green. There she is. Very good. Congratulations, April. Idabel Gutierrez. All right. Very good. Oh, we got some confetti. Nice. We like the special effects. How about Ryan Hall? Where's Ryan? There he is. Congratulations, Ryan. Well done. Karina Helgeson. Where's Karina? Whoop, whoop. Good job, Karina. Juan Hernandez. Where's Juan? Hey, Juan. Congratulations. Eric Keen Louie. Where's Eric? All right. Very good. The next two have a little special place in my heart because they're Qualcomm employees and my peers at Qualcomm. So shout out to Courtney Locke. Congratulations, Courtney. Great job on your hard work. And George Lane, another one of my Qualcomm peers. Job well done, George. Proud of you guys. Joshua Lichtman. Hey, Joshua, congrats. Reed Maltby. Where's Reed? There you go. Nicely done. Nicole Markel. There she is. Hey, Nicole, congratulations. Vivian McDonald. Where's Vivian? There she is. All right. Got pom-poms going. Gaurav Mishra. Where's Gaurav? Hey, Gaurav. Congratulations. Alec Ostapovich. Congratulations, Alec. Nice job. Michael Page. Hey, congrats, Michael. Doloriza Nufron. Sorry, I messed that up. Congratulations. Erica Schimmel Gies. Nice job, Erica. Christina Smith. Hey, Christina, congrats. Dawn Wenzel. There she is. Congrats, Dawn.
Yay.
And Mindy Wright. Where's Mindy? Last but not least, there she is. Congratulations, Mindy. All right, so can you believe it? Class of 2021, you are officially LEAD graduates, and congratulations. Welcome to the LEAD family. We're looking forward to working with you and see how you continue to positively affect change in San Diego and in the future. So before we close, before anyone shuts down, we want to take a class picture. So leave your cameras on, and Brittany's going to get the right screenshot and take a couple of screenshots of the entire group. So Brittany, take it away and let me know when you're done.
All right, if everyone's smiling big, I'll grab a couple of screen grabs. And keep smiling. And a little bit longer. Thanks for your patience, guys. You got a couple of pages of smiling faces. You all look great. Congrats. And I am good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. And again, graduates, on behalf of the LEAD San Diego Board of Directors, we just want to say congratulations once again. Thanks everyone for joining and celebrating all of your fellow graduates. So stay safe, stay well, and have a great weekend. And thanks again.
Bye, everyone.